Okay, so people want to know, don't forget, this is like 73. Is 37 and 73 are codes for bringing heaven to earth. Well, that's why I wear that one. I don't know its roots, but it's always been 73, but for me, it's taken on new significance. The best possible timeline for us on planet Earth is for all of us to be freed from life as it is here on planet Earth as human. Why? Because, even the best human gets old and frail, and, the things they could do at 20, they can't do at 80. And they get cranky, and it's not just, the aches and pains, but they get cranky because, it's like they want to go and do things like ride a bike, and they can't anymore. And they got years and years and years and years of old age. And then nothing to look forward to but, a horrible ending. So, the current way that humans live on planet Earth, everyone would say, and then add in every other social problem that we have, and people are going to say, what do you got, Pollyanna, for me? Well, no one's going to understand Pollyanna unless, you've seen that old movie. But it's basically, everything is sunny and beautiful, and everything's always going to be sunny and beautiful, and a lot of people have a hard time with that, especially when they're, in a certain mood. Anyway, the best possible timeline is for all of us to be changed, and this is what we've been told about fifth dimensional Earth, is that you don't die. And it's gift economy, and that you manifest your life. What is the difference between that and well, pretty much here it's like, well, you go to government schools, indoctrinated in the ways of being a muggle, and then you live as a muggle life as best as you can. So it is true that when we go into these higher realms of consciousness, that manifestation, which is wizardry, which is simply what do you wish for, and have that manifest for you to experience. And then when you're done, demanifest it. Because you're done, and that's the way the Babaji does it. So that's why we say, because he demanifests the things, the experiences, once he and his friends have had the experience and they're done with it. So they don't leave garbage lying around. Unless it was going to, I don't know, because that was just one thing. Maybe we're going to make something more permanent. I don't know. We need to find out. It's just that, life on planet Earth is very much programmed by other people, by the government indoctrination schools. And, life after the government school. Anyways, it's just what it is. And anybody who's done any research on fifth dimensional living, and I don't know what that was. I don't know. It's a demonic attack. So, would you expect demonic attack? Murderers, rapists in the 5D? No. Now, people do say in the law of one that there can be, but that's law of one, that's densities, and that's not the fifth dimension. And I know people keep trying to squeeze evil into the fifth dimension, but by definition, the song is the fifth dimension song, Age of Aquarius. This is the dawning of the Age of Aquarius. Harmony and understanding. It doesn't say nothing about evil. Period. So I'm not letting evil in. And anybody who says that we're going to have evil in 5D, they don't know. They're in ignorance. If they try and I don't know. They won't be fifth dimensional. They'll be kicked out, I guess. I don't know. So I don't know. Because all the other questions always come down to, well, that's it. 5D Earth. In 5D website has got excellent articles about this. Really good. So good that I would say they're beyond good. Why? Because, let's say even 5 years ago, when I was looking at that website, it was so far over my head that I thought it was gibberish. In 5 years, I've come around to being able to comprehend what they're saying in that In5D website. But before, just gibberish. And a lot of you people out there might say, well, the stuff you talk, Bob, is always gibberish to me. So just understand that I am not, I'm not the master. I'm a spiritual student, a serious student. Well read, but I don't have all the answers and I do get things wrong. But compared to everybody else who's not doing any research in this area whatsoever, I'm very knowledgeable. And that's just showing you that I am still learning. Because what I couldn't understand 5 years ago, I'm starting to get the ability to comprehend it. In5D website. I'm trying to think of another book that I bought that didn't make any sense to me in those days either. Otherwise, I can't remember it. Maybe I'll get it later. So that's the point. I am still learning. I'm not sitting on my laurels. I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. I'm still learning. Lifelong learning should be cultivated. And I know people try to say, well, I'm in lifelong learning in cooking or something, or wine tasting or whatever, but without the information about the spiritual nature of your reality as being the first thing you learn, then you get sidetracked. Because in your reality, you do die, and you don't know what happens to you after you drop dead. And most people out of sight, out of mind. But this is the thing that never goes away. Where are you going to be? Because I don't know. I had high anxiety about death. I did. When I was much younger. I think most people do. David R. Hawkins, the consciousness researcher, said, the root fear of every other fear among humans is the fear of death. So the best way to deal with fear is to learn as much as you can about exactly what is going on at the time of death and what happens after death. And without a body, what exactly are you without a body? Because most people identify themselves as, this is me. Spiritual teachers say, no, it's not. So what are you? Well, then it leaves you a whole other thing. Well, you're not the body. So there's a bunch of research to try and figure out, well, if I'm not the body, then what am I? The Buddha said it's something that travels from this incarnation to the next. Something goes from here to there. Other people write about what happens when people drop dead on the operating table and later on they're brought back to life and they got incredible stories. All kinds of stuff. But, the story that your body dies and that's the end of you is, I don't have any evidence whatsoever for that. Some people come back from being dead and report, well, I don't have any memories of being dead. But they're, we're going to take it that. They don't have any memories. But the people that do have unbelievable memories. So why don't you go with the story rather than, I just don't have a story. I don't have any evidence. But then there's zillions of people who reported what they experienced life after death. And other people who psychically connect with people that are supposed to be dead, people who see doppelgangers of people who are supposed to be dead. A spiritual teacher, Joel S. Goldsmith, from like the 1960s, he talked about in one of his lectures on YouTube what happens when you drop dead. And he said, you don't drop dead. You produce a body for the people that are still in these physical bodies. You produce a dead body. You manifest a dead body that looks like what you were running around in. But that's not you, and it never was you. But for all the people left behind, well, he's dead because there's the dead body. Is it the strong belief that, people die before they're 100 years old that causes people to drop the body? Or is it something else? I don't know. But, Joe, I don't remember the name of the lecture. But Joel S. Goldsmith's lectures are on YouTube, and but they're very good. There's nobody like him. He's excellent. But, he's of that generation, and, it's kind of long. I mean, an hour. Can you spend an hour? I don't know, maybe just have an app and play Joel S. Goldsmith quietly in the background. And so you get it subliminally. He's very good. I don't know, out of 10 stars, if I could give somebody 1 to 10, 10 being best, I would give him 10 out of 10. David R. Hawkins would get, well, I have to give him 10 out of 10. Are these people perfect? No. But they're as close to perfect as I can give you as spiritual teachers. So I'm giving them 10. Eckhart Tolle gets a 10. We're trying to figure out if Deepak Chopra would get a 10. I have no complaints about his books. They're very inspiring. They're very good. Is his information accurate enough to give him a 10 out of 10? I haven't looked at his latest information. I have to give him a 10 out of 10. I've read so many of his books. I'm never disappointed in Deepak Chopra. So, excellent teachers. Let's see. Mary Baker Eddy. About 1890? 1890. You won't find any. Well, you will, because people do take her old material and they read it for you, audiobook. So I'm sure you'll be able to find Mary Baker Eddy on YouTube too. And her books are still available. Timeless Wisdom. How many stars would you give Mary Baker Eddy? Is there anything about Mary Baker Eddy that I don't like? Give her a 10 out of 10. I know, it's a long time ago. And you will find probably a certain amount of being perplexed when you read her. It's just because you're entering a new subject and you have a lot of what do you call them? Pre-made impressions from your past life, since the time when you were born in this lifetime, of all kinds of other stuff, facts and figures and ways of looking at things. And don't forget, this is like a textbook from 1890, so, Is it? Yeah, it's modern English. It is. It's modern English. It's not like trying to read Shakespeare. It's modern English. And why do we like it? Because it's about transformation. It's about you changing the way you look at the world. Very simply, from what most people look at it as being a material world, Madonna and the Material Girl, physicality, she wants you to change from looking at everything as being separate physical objects to a spiritual world. This world, same world, everything is the same, except that everything here is now spiritual and not material. Why is that different? Well, because, and then everything is of the spirit. It's one thing. And then how you go about dealing with everything when it's spirit rather than material items, well, that's what she talks about. Maybe you don't want to change from looking at things as being separate physical and material things. But that's very what we call 3D. It's not fifth dimensional. And we're moving to 5D Earth. We've been expecting it any moment for years now. So if you want to get a heads up on this, Abraham Hicks on YouTube, also books. Abraham Hicks. Now, I got to tell you, there was a time when I thought Abraham Hicks stuff was. Could I comprehend it? I did understand what they were trying to get us to do. I understood their English. It's just me doing that. It didn't seem to be able to flow in getting me into doing that. So I wrote it off as I do know useless. But I've changed. Now, how many years ago was that? How many years ago did I think that? Manifestation. Well, it was just that I did have periods when I was using like manifestation of parking spaces many years, 15 years ago. So what was the difference between parking angels helping you getting parking spaces and manifesting? It didn't come to mind. Maybe I didn't believe that I could manifest? Because I wasn't manifesting parking spaces, I was using parking angels. And the angels were finding me spaces and knowing that I was coming, and so I was using angels. I wasn't using manifestation of a parking space in those days. It was different mindset all completely. Yeah. And I never was given to think about asking angels for manifesting other things. It just wasn't, never came to mind. And somewhere along the way, I did see Abraham Hicks' book. I'm sure I saw it at Banyan Books in Vancouver, a great bookstore. And I'm sure I flipped through it more than one occasion, but I didn't buy it. And I remember listening to Abraham Hicks multiple times. I did. I didn't know I was drawn to it. Multiple times listening to their YouTube videos, many times. And it just seems like, in those times I was just, it doesn't work for me. It just didn't work. So I just said, well, it doesn't work. If it don't work, it don't work. But why am I saying it now? Because more and more I read about what 5D is, fifth dimensional Earth, the more and more Abraham Hicks teachings make sense to me. So there's another one that I got wrong. I wasn't at I don't know if it's a level of consciousness or maybe a not enough real world experience with it, and not enough people around me who are already into it to have a group of people who are, every day, like, this is what we're manifesting. How do we do on our manifestations? I didn't have a group of people that I was checking in on all this stuff because I've just not had a group like that for a long time. But you just keep plucking away at it day after day, because that's what I do in my YouTube videos. Tarot videos, because they talk about relationships and things that are going on. Spiritual things, yes, they do. Tarot card readers are excellent on YouTube. And a whole pile of different spiritual teachers. Of all kinds of different things. Because I just want to know. The more I know, the more I realize that I don't know and I need to know. It's a feedback loop. The more you learn, the more you realize that you've got to keep learning, because it's just like so many other doors of things. And it is like, if you don't do the research and continue to do, I got to look under this rock and that rock, then you don't move forward on your sacred spiritual journey. Because that's what you're supposed to be here. A pilgrimage to planet Earth for a lifetime. Your pilgrimage, a sacred spiritual journey, because many spiritual teachers say, you, human, are a spirit having a human experience. And what I was talking about earlier, what are you after you leave this body? Well, I guess you're a spirit. So, what am I trying to manifest now? I'm not manifesting anything because with my mind, at the level of my consciousness now, which is called peace, I have a quiet mind. So, all those years ago when I was thinking, well, I don't know, listening to them say, well, you can manifest whatever. People used to say, manifest a car or a new job or whatever. Well, in those days, you could think about it. You could think about the thing you want to manifest or whatever and hold it in mind, and then hopefully that thing will come to pass. But I don't do that because when you have inner silence, you don't have a bunch of ideas popping around in your head that you can pick from. So what happens with manifestation? I think it just becomes automatic. Many times I've said, in 5D, in fifth dimensional, things come to you by synchronicity and serendipity. And before you think you need a drink is there for you. That's the way. So even the Abraham Hicks stuff seems like it's going to go out of date. In 5D, website, go check it out.